G'day and welcome to Dog Talk. I'm Dan Camilleri.
And I'm Laura McKillop. Tonight we're fortunate enough to be speaking with Callum Storey from Shorefoot Kelpies and the newly formed Queensland Yard and Utility Trial Association.
G'day Callum, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good yourselves?
Good, thanks, mate. Had a bit of a full-on day there?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's been.
Oh, we've lost him.
Yeah, no, day's been good, mate. Yeah, we got a little bit on at the moment, but it's just a bit of catch-up work and just getting a few things tidied up. The workshop's a bit of a mess from cropping and that through the year, so we've sort of got to get in and tidy it up a bit at the moment. So.
Very cool. And like Laura mentioned before, mate, you're the president of the Queensland Yard and Utility Association. So we thought we'd have this chat tonight so people can learn it or listen and learn a little bit about yourself and the association. So, mate, if we might kick off, and you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, mate, where you're from, where you grew up?
Yep. Yeah, so I'm originally from Queensland. I grew up in a town called Wandoan, which is you're about 3 hours west of Taunton, and you're just sort of northeast of Roma, I suppose is the easiest way to describe it. I grew up as a town kid. I was that annoying mate that was trying to catch the ride back out to mates' farms on the bus on a Friday afternoon after school. So and that's sort of where I suppose I started a bit of passion for ag. Was get properties and learn how to ride horses and doing a bit of money.
Yeah, and speaking of the little ones are getting into it there. And speaking of your horses, mate, you do a little bit of horses still?
Oh yeah, we sort of only really we've just got a small team of horses nowadays. Mastering, one thing sort of start settle down a bit. We get back into a routine. We might, I might try and get out to a couple of something like that, but sort of the working dog and the new association are sort of pretty well our focus. So, yeah, where we're at the minute, but yeah.
And are you still doing much mustering on horseback?
Yeah, we do all our cattle work here on horseback. Every now and then I might jump on a or something like that just to run out and check cattle or shift a paddock. But yeah, it's generally all done on horseback.
Cool. And whereabouts are you and the family located now, mate?
Located just northwest of Jendowie, in a little area called Dark Creek. We're located on 9,000 acres.
Beautiful, mate. And you've moved around a little?
We've moved around. Would have been almost right up and down the side.
So what are you doing for work these days?
So I work on a cattle property now. That's our main forte here. But it's a growing process at the moment. it's only sort of in the small amounts of acres at the moment. With hopefully it'll get expanded, so it'll be good if we can get that going a bit more. It's another industry in the ag that we can cover, supplying a bit of grain. So
Beautiful. And you spent some time down here in New South Wales?
yeah, we've done a couple of stints down there now. We our first stint we did a 2-year stint sort of out in the on the western edge of the Central West, out between Condobolin and Nymagee. We were about 60 k's directly south of Nymagee, sort of back out in that red dust region out there. So that was through the sort of 17-18 drought. We were out there, and then we came back home for a short stint back into Queensland, and then we turned around and did another 2-year stint down through between New South and Victoria, and then came home again. So we're pretty well settled up here again now. So yeah,
Enjoying being up back at home?
Yeah, mate, it's good. Yeah, being closer to family's been good for the boys. We got two young boys, so it's it's been good to get back up, and they sort of get to see their grandparents and cousins and uncles and aunts pretty regularly now. So it sort of makes their home life a bit better for them too. They've got more regular faces around them again. So
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about how do you get into your working dogs, mate?
Yeah, so I actually I did a small contracting job in the hills in a little area called West Halden, which is not far from Toowoomba, and just doing it on horseback was pretty full on. And we ended up getting a fella to come in and give us a hand, and he had a team of 5 dogs. That he had one young dog, and then he had the four experienced dogs, and he split them into 2 teams of experienced dogs. And all of a sudden, the job went from being a hard task to actually being reasonably simple, just by throwing a couple of dogs into the mix, and a bloke who had an understanding of how to handle a dog and where the dog needed to be on the mob of stock, and that was in a lot of sort of hilly lantana country where you get a real smart old cow or a bull just hide in the middle of a lantana bush that could be 5 acres in size. So you get a lantana bush that's that big just in itself. It's pretty hard to ask a horse to walk into that. When a dog can just run in underneath it, it sort of makes life a lot easier, and that sort of got me started in the process of wondering how easier my life could be with having my own team of dogs, and that was back in 2010. So I've sort of only been sort of in dogs now for 12 years. So and that was just getting some dogs that had a little bit of an idea of what they were doing and training them on the job, and that did entail a fair bit of yelling and to be honest, cussing at the dogs, fair bit of swearing at dogs, trying to call them back and that sort of thing. And I figured there had to be a better way to do it. And so I actually put a post up on a local community page on Facebook near Clifton, where I was living at the time. And there was a bloke replied to me on there. I asked if anyone in the area sort of did any working dog training for a bloke and for their dog at the same time. So, and a bloke by the name of Matt Mitchell actually private messaged me, and he helped me out fairly well in the start. He sort of swung me a pup and a bit older bitch that sort of really got me keen on Kelpies, because before that I just had crossbred, station bred dogs and sort of whatever sort of, to be honest, what was cheap or free at the time. But once I sort of got a couple of pretty well bred dogs and dogs that had a lot more natural ability in them, it showed me that there's a fair bit of importance on not just pedigree dogs, but dogs that have been bred to do the job. and being bred for natural ability. So that got me. Once Matt got me started with that, I was pretty well hooked then. And there was that's bugging my bank account for the last 12 years now since I sort of started getting into that, because all my spare coin goes towards my dogs now. So it's but yeah, it's definitely grown into a pretty full on passion that I'm definitely not prepared to give up anytime soon. So
Beautiful. And you mentioned your Kelpie dogs there, mate. What have you got in your current team?
Current team, I've got a 5-year-old male Kelpie that we bred. He's actually out of the old girl that I started with, and he's just a straight paddock dog. He's pretty handy. He's good for cattle. He work anything in the paddock, cattle, sheep, or goats. And then you sort of slot down. There's a couple of 3-year-old dogs there. One that I got not too long ago. He's sort of slotted into the team pretty well. He's pretty happy to be here. And then another one that we bred. She's another 3-year-old dog, and I've got a 2-year-old bitch there at the moment, or she's 2.5. So I've got a team of 4 going dogs, and then I've got a mountain of pups out the back that are in training at the moment. There's a couple there that'll stay and jump into the team. So they won't be too far off.
So pretty relatively young team still.
Yeah. I've actually we've had a few losses in our dogs over the last sort of 6 months, losing some older dogs, and I've had to bring some younger stuff through and just make them a permanent fixture in the team, and they were already heading that way, but they sort of just got there's that young 2-year-old. I wasn't sort of making her a full-time member just yet, but she sort of got thrown in the deep end, and she's just taken in her stride. So, but she worked from the start of weaning right through, so she's going to have a break now. Give her a month off so she can have a rest, and while we're sort of just doing a bit of tinkering around and not doing a great deal of stock work, we're coming into branding. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
And so what style of dog are you mostly working? Having a bit of sheep, cattle, goat work? What sort of style of dog are you after?
Oh, I like a dog that doesn't have too much eye. I do like a little bit of eye and style in a dog. I think at times it can help create a bit of presence, and I find that they're not, if they got that little bit of eye on them, they're not too pushy. They know how to settle a little bit and calm down, but I do like that for my dogs to have a fair chunk of walk up strength. If a dog for me doesn't show walk up strength sort of by the time he's 12 months old, they sort of don't really hang around too much. I sort of try and move them on to someone who they might suit a bit more. But I like them to have positioning and be able to handle a mob pretty naturally. Because to be honest, I probably don't put enough handle on my dogs early on, but I like trying to leave them alone and just have a call off and a stop on them really until they're around that 2-year-old and a bit more mature in the mind, and then bring them back and put a bit of command on them. So they've got to be a pretty natural sort of dog to stick around. If they're happy to get out and get around their stock, they generally hang around for a while. They'll have a place to do some work and have a job here and there to do until something else comes up. Yeah.
Beautiful, mate. And you've been up and down the east coast of the country there and touching a bit of trialing yourself, which we'll talk about a bit later. Mate, if there was a dog around that you could inherit that somebody else has owned, who would it be and why?
Oh, if he was a bit younger, to be honest, I'd take on a dog called Sunraysia George, which I'm sure everyone in the trial world knows very well. Just his sheer versatility. There's not too much I don't think that dog can't do. And he's just full of that natural walk up strength, like I was saying. and he breeds on. I've used him. I used him for a litter myself, and he actually gave me in 2 young bitches exactly what I was looking for. So if I could copy that again, I'd be pretty happy. I'd be pretty happy to have that particular dog in my team. Yeah.
Cool. And touching on using him there, and you've obviously bred a couple of pups there, mate. What do you get out of breeding your own pups?
Biggest thing for me is I sort of get a bit better selection process, I suppose. Like when I say better, it gives me more time to choose the pups. So if I'll actually hold on to a full litter until they're 12 weeks old, and then that's sort of when I'm happy for them to go out and get placed in the new homes, because I can take my time and find the pup out of that litter that I like and I think I'm going to get along with the best. Because that way I'll give them the time they deserve. I sort of don't really believe in just picking a pup just because you want one. You've got to like the pup, because if you don't like the pup, you're not going to give it the time it deserves. And when you're training dogs, it's your focus has got to be on the dog. If you got them sitting out in the cage and doing absolutely nothing, if they're just living in a cage till they're 12 months old or 2-year-old, and you decide you don't like them, well, you've just wasted a chance for someone else to have a good dog.
Yeah.
Absolutely well said. Yep. Anything to add to that one, Laura?
No, I think that's it's good. I just lost what I was going to say.
You're all right, mate. When you're looking at outside size for yourself, what are you looking at? Or for?
I like to see sort of consistency in the dog. I look for those traits that I stated earlier that I like. I like a bit of, not a heap of style, just enough style that they know how to calm themselves and they'll settle stock and have a bit of presence, but that walk-up strength. But I like to see a dog come out and be consistent in the way they work. I think if you can, if you get the chance to see a young dog, put some prods in you on the ground before you use it, then that's also a bonus. But I'm sort of not too concerned if I do find a dog I really like and it hasn't had a litter before I use it, just as long as it's sort of consistent in the way it works and the way it handles itself. Yeah.
Awesome, mate. What advice would you give to someone looking for their first pup or dog?
Make sure you like the pup. Yeah, go to a reputable breeder, someone who's got a reputation for being prepared to help the person that's buying a pup from them, whether that be in just verbal advice or actually getting them back and giving them some lessons or however they want to do it. But someone who's got a reputation for being willing to help and take the time but yeah, biggest thing is make sure you like the pup. If you don't like the pup, no point in taking it home.
Definitely, that's how I ended up meeting Daniel, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
Great advice, mate. Great advice.
So you've done a bit of trialing up and down the East Coast?
Yeah, a little bit. Not a heap. We've been to a few now. We've done a bit more than a handful of trials, and we actually started up here in Queensland. My first ever trial was actually a utility trial in a little town called John Darien, just west of Toowoomba. So, and it was it was fantastic because you got to test your dog in the paddock and in the yards all in the same run. So that sort of that started a pretty big passion for trialing. We have had some big gaps in our trials that we make it to due to work and that sort of stuff. But we sort of now we're starting to get a bit settled. We'll get in and do a few extras and we'll start travelling into New South Wales a bit more and doing some that sort of thing. So I've been lucky enough. I actually I got the opportunity to purchase a bit older female that was already an open dog and had done a lot of trialling, and I got to run her a couple of times before she got too old. And it was amazing to see a dog who knew what a trial ring was without sort of having to be told what to do all the time. I'd still try and tell the old girl what to do, and she'd just virtually roll her eyes and go, "No, that's not where you want me. I need to be over here." And nearly it'd be 9.5 times out of 10 she was spot on with where she needed to be. But it was that sort of, I suppose, having the privilege to be able to have an old dog like that knew where she needed to be in a trial sort of drove my passion and has made me commit to trialling a bit more than what I probably would have without a dog like her.
Yeah.
Do you want to give that old bitch a plug, mate?
Capri Kez.
Yeah.
She was trained by a bloke by the name of Justin Toombs. She's she was a good old dog. She was she's unfortunately not around anymore. We lost her earlier this year. She health problems, but she was. We were lucky enough that she gave my partner Chloe. She gave her a couple of runs in the trial ring as well. So we got a fairly big pretty big value out of her, sort of being able to teach us a bit. And she was one of those dogs that was able to show me a little bit about natural positioning on a mob too. She wasn't a big paddock dog. She didn't have a big caster on her or anything like that. But once you had a mob together and you drop her off the ute or the bike, she had good feel for where she needed to position herself on a mob, and that reflected in a trial ring as well. And it got majorly reflected to me when she started rolling her eyes at me when I was telling her to go the wrong bloody way. So, yeah.
And how'd your trial bug come about, mate? How'd you catch that?
That was started by the same fella that got me into training dogs a bit better way. Matt Mitchell actually he dragged me along to trial at Armidale in, I think it was 2014. I think it might have been 2014, 2015 there somewhere. He dragged me down there. We left here in Queensland about 2:00 in the morning and got down to Armidale and that was unreal, just to be able to sit back and watch some proper handy dogs get around a yard. So that's what got me there, and the next trial after that I was able to get to was the utility trial, and at that point I'd sort of had a dog there that I'd got a bit better handle on, and that through guidance, and that's where we started with it. It all sort of circled back to that one trial at John Darien.
That's awesome. Why do you enjoy trialing?
It's a lot of the social atmosphere, to be honest. Just being able to sort of go and have something to do on a social level with your dogs outside of work, because our dogs are such a large part of our life, to be able to go and have a bit of fun where it's not all just about work. It's just about getting out there, having a run, and then sitting back on the sidelines watching someone else do it and getting advice on where you can improve and continue to grow in your ability as a handler. I think with trialing for me is because you can soon learn where your weaknesses are as a handler. So that's been a pretty big one for me, because I was able to learn very quickly where I needed to improve to help my dogs be better. So that was a big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And running a trial isn't new to you, mate. You had a crack when you were out in Forbes there, Parks, run your own trial.
Park. Yeah, Parks in 2021. We ran a trial there in June. It probably really should have been. It could have been run across 3 days. We ended up running. I think it was like the last third of the novice plus the novice final under lights on the Saturday night, because otherwise we wouldn't have got the open finished on Sunday. everyone, we would have to try to convince people, and probably paid about 50 or 60 people's day wage to keep them back on Monday to finish the trial. So it was huge, and for us, I suppose that's been a pretty big point to us with how supportive a trial community can be. The amount of people that turned out to support me and Chloe in the first trial was huge. It was a big one, yeah, and it was a lot of fun too.
No, absolutely, it was, mate. And that was my next question, mate. Any takeaways? Like, what did you learn from running that event?
Keep running them. Yeah, any chance you get, if you get the opportunity to put another one on, just do it. Yeah, it's one of those things. I suppose it's getting the feeling of being able to run a successful trial. It's one of those feelings that's sort of pretty hard to forget. To be able to walk away from a weekend and get a lot of feedback from people saying that they enjoyed themselves and that they'd come back anytime it's run is sort of that's a pretty big push on to keep it going and do it all again.
Absolutely. And a hat's off to you, mate. It was a very well-run event, and you had a lot of buy-in from the local community. It was very enjoyable, and people come from, fair distances to attend as well. It was a great weekend. Yeah,
no, thanks for that. Yeah, no, it was huge. We had people come from. We had a couple of handlers come up out of Victoria for it, and from northern New South right up sort of the top end of New South, people came down, and there's. I believe you and Laura came across, and a few others came across from Sydney as well. So that's a fair hike out to come over the mountains, and it was very impressive and very humbling, I suppose, is probably one way to put it, to see people come from that far just for a little country trial, which made it quite big.
No, it was great. Always enjoy a good trial.
It was.
So you're obviously now back in Queensland. What made you go about starting the Queensland Yard and Utility Trials Association?
Well, to be 100%, a lady by the name of Shelley Burns. She's been involved in trialling now for 10 years or just over. She actually called me and Chloe there one afternoon. We were actually on our way up to Springshaw to see some friends, and she gave us a call and said that she was really going to start pushing forward to get our own Yard and Utility Association happening in Queensland, and asked if we wanted to be a part of it and just help in whichever way we possibly could. And to be honest, we were probably a little bit late to the party. We sort of came in partway through it all, but we've just thrown ourselves into it head first, and we're sort of Shirley Burns has been a massive driving point behind it herself. She was just keen, and I suppose we've got a team now that's everyone's got a big passion for promoting yard and utility trialling here in Queensland. So it was sort of, for us, it was a pretty easy decision to throw ourselves into it as much as we can and promote it and keep pushing it forward. And biggest one for us, seeing the team of people that's involved in it is what's kept us and pushed us into it. Yeah.
Going to ask you a bit about your team in a minute there, but what do you guys what do you want to get out of it? Why have you formed it?
Well, we've started this to one of the biggest things is I suppose we just having that little bit more freedom, being a full-blown association for yard and utility trialling instead of a subcommittee. It used to be a subcommittee up here that was part of the Queensland Working Sheepdog Association Incorporated, which they were always supportive and they helped where they could. But I think the biggest thing for us is we probably have a little bit more that we can achieve by being a separate association. In the way of just being able to grow it a bit more and push it forward. The biggest one for us is going to be we want to see the growth. We want to see the growth in yard utility trialling in Queensland, and that's probably what we're going to be looking for the most over the next few years. It's not going to be an overnight sensation. We do believe there's going to be a lot of commitment and everything involved for, probably at least the first 5 years. But we're just going to go head first at it and do it as big and as hard as can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Queensland's a massive state. What do you guys need to get it going, to start the ball rolling?
Community support. Like if people don't feel that they're equipped to run a trial, but they're equipped to be able to put on training days and demos and that sort of thing, just to get the awareness out there and get people interested. You don't have to have 200, 300 head of sheep and available to do anything to be a part of it. Even if you can get 15 or 20 sheep, where we can just come out and put a bit of a demo on it at your local show, or if we can get get some people involved and do some training clinics, and even if they're just 1 or 2 days, and just to get people keen. It certainly doesn't have to be support in the way of holding a full trial. More than happy just to get some coaches together and head wherever we can to get some, just build some interest and get people aware of what yard and utility trialling actually is up here. It's it has over time it hasn't been that big, and most people think trialling up here is either.
Well, we've lost him for a sec there. We're going to have to come back to that. I think his internet just dropped out there.
I think so. 35-40.
Competition or
hey Callum, you ever said, mate? We lost you when you said
mate.
Trialing. Yeah, we lost you when you said trialing is. So could you think when you said you think a lot of people out there think trialing is? Can we just go back a couple of
steps? No, that's all right. So up here in Queensland over time, I suppose a lot of people have believed that trialling is either in the form of a 3 sheep trial or a cattle trial. The yard and utility it hasn't had huge awareness to it. There's only been 1 or 2 utilities and 1 or 2 yard trials in this southeastern corner between mainly Pittsworth and Inglewood have about it. So at the moment, it's we're looking at potentially having a bit busier year than that. At this stage, we've got potential to have maybe 10 to 15 yard trials and probably hopefully 4 utility trials. So that's it's not huge numbers of trials like what you see in New South and Victoria, but just in our first year, even just to take it from 2 or 3 trials up to 10 is going to create a lot more awareness and get people involved. But we've had I think we'll have a lot of success in holding training days and demos as well.
And how many trials would you like to see over in 5 years' time? Like, how many trials would you like to see scattered around the state?
It's inside the next 5 years. The sheep numbers may be a bit of a concern for us in different areas, but at the same time, we're not going to be picky. If someone's got a couple of 100 Dorpers, they're happy to loan out. They're still sheep. We're definitely not biased as to what it is, because they all get work in a set of yards at home, or classed or whatever's got to be done. So they know the routine of going up a race and going to a draft. So it'd be great to be able to see that community support build and end up with 30 or 40 trial years. But if we get there, we get there. But we'll just keep pushing along and we'll get what we can get done.
Oh,
Beautiful.
awesome, mate. I reckon that's great. And on the flip side there of like hosting a trial, mate, and already knowing this answer, what experience do handlers need, or what kind of dogs do they need to be able to have a crack?
Oh, mate, if you got a dog, yeah, come and have a crack. If it's if you feel that you just want to get out and have a bit of fun, training can start at a trial. Even if you just come in, if you've got a stop and a call off on your dog, yeah, you can by all means go and have a dig, go and jump in an encouraged class trial or a local class and get amongst it. And once you've had your run, if just go and find an experienced handler or if you sort of you just go and ask the judge or who's a good person to talk to. They're always willing to give advice and send you to someone that can sit down and have a chat with you. So yeah, that's probably what I'd say. If you've got a stop and a call off on your dog, then just come and have a go.
And when's your first event then?
The 4th of March. We've got, at this stage, we'll have a yard trial at the Millmerran Show.
Beautiful. Very good.
Hopefully it's I think it'll end up being a busy trial. There's we've had quite a bit of interest already in how people can get amongst it and get involved. So I think it being the first one off the ranks as it starts to cool down up here, it's yeah, I think it'll be good.
Absolutely, mate, and I hope it really takes off for you. And knowing how much effort goes into a trial, mate, do you want to tell us a little bit about the committee you guys have on board there and the people driving this?
Yeah, so at the moment there's our secretary is Shelley Burns, but she's been the major driving point behind this, and I actually, to be honest, I would have loved for Shelley to be the president, because she has been the main driving force, and I think she should be the face of Queensland Yard and Utility trialling at the moment. But Shelley just wants to keep pushing through with the paperwork and be on the information side of things, and that I think she's going to do a terrific job there. And next we've got is my partner Chloe Owen. She's our treasurer, so she'll be bit of the push and shove behind the finance side of things. And then we've got our vice president is Derek Binstead, who's there'd be quite a large number of people who would already know who he is from trialling over the years. He's got a lot of trial experience and he's won numerous trials and he's represented Queensland a few times at the Australian Championships and that sort of thing as well. So he's got a lot of experience in running trials, and he was the chairman for the subcommittee that used to run under the Queensland Working Sheepdog banner. So he's got a lot of experience in being a part of an association and a committee to drive this sort of thing. So that was why we were hoping Derek would come on board, and his wife Taryn, she's been a massive help through all this as well. Just with the knowledge that she's also got through trialling and being part of the old committee and getting things going up here and that. So and then we've got another bloke by the name of Wally Bell. He's sort of further out west. I think he's out around Surat. He used to he's run a few trials and competed a fair bit himself. So he was keen to get in and help wherever he could. He's been terrific through it all with helping us all get together and make decisions on where we go and that sort of thing. And then the other bloke that's part of the committee is a bloke I know, Errol Gill. There'll be a few people down through New South and Victoria that would know who Errol is. He's got a lot of experience in trialling. Same thing. He's won numerous trials and represented Queensland on a number of occasions at the Australians. And he's a massive help because he's got experience in running trials as well, and which is sort of what we need when people approach people can approach anyone from our committee and get good information and advice from anyone on the management committee. And if they want to hold a trial or a training day, they can talk to anyone that's on it. Everyone will be willing to help as much as they can.
Absolutely. And obviously you're going to need a lot of support, not just like from the community, trialers, people willing to donate sheep and events, like you said, your thing, but also sponsorship, mate. So if there's anyone out there that want to get on board and help you out a bit, what would you say to them today? Where can they go?
If they're happy to, they can either contact Elf or Shelley Burns. We've got the Facebook page there, and we've also got a website that has our contact details on it. We've got phone numbers and email addresses on there. So if anyone's keen to jump in and help support in the way of just, if it's just wanting to organise an event or get in and help with sponsorship and that, reach out to us anytime. Our phone numbers and email addresses are on the Facebook page and on the website.
And every little bit helps, right?
It does. It does. Every little bit helps. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. Every bit will contribute to making this a success.
Absolutely. I think it's a great initiative, mate, and hats off to everyone there involved. And I really hope it does take off for you.
Thanks for that. Yeah, no, I think we've got a great team that'll help push this forward. And
that's what you need, right? You need a team there around you and build a community and hopefully your membership numbers grow and they can take off. Actually, have you guys got a kind of a membership thing there happening at the moment to join the association?
So we're in the middle of working with the New South Wales Yard Dog Association and the Victorian Yard Dog Association in working towards an umbrella insurance policy where all three states can work together and which will be a massive help and having that support, that interstate support from New South and Victoria to help us get going is already been a massive part to us. So if we can get under that umbrella insurance, and we're hoping to have that up and going in November sometime. So we will have a media release on both our website and our Facebook page once that's up and running with all the information anyone needs to become a member.
Beautiful. Sounds like a great idea.
And Laura can relate to running a trial. She's got a hands full there running the secretary running the Sydney Sheepdog Club, so she can appreciate the effort that all you guys go to as well.
Yeah, I'd reckon it'd be a busy job doing that one for Laura. It won't be quiet.
No, that and trying to keep this wet weather under control. We've had it postponed twice this year, and the third one, fingers crossed, the rain doesn't come.
When's the third one?
End of this month, end of October.
Yeah, I think hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll be safe.
Fingers crossed, fingers and toes at this stage, but can't
definitely
change it. It is what it is.
I've got the easy job this year,
right.
I just have to go and put some panels up.
Oh, that's the go. Oh, you step back a bit.
Yeah, they're a bit busy at the moment, and we're lucky, like you said, mate. Many hands make light work, right? And we're lucky enough to have a community around here where a lot of people are willing to dig in and help. So we can appreciate just how much it takes to run a trial, so let alone an association. Anyone can help and get on board. Even something as simple as donating panels for trials. Easy itself.
Or out the back of the yards, like anything.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like if you see an event advertised, whether it's a trial or a training day or anything like that, we've still got, we've still got people there keeping track, making sure everyone's getting in and getting their turn, and we need people out letting sheep out from the backyards and that sort of thing. So yeah, even if you don't have a dog, there's always something to be involved in, and every little bit helps. If even if you just turn up for 15 minutes, just helping us let sheep out into the ring, that's always very much appreciated. because it just allows someone that's been there for a number of hours, they can duck off and get a drink and have a 5-minute rest and go again.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Anything else that you'd like to touch on there, Callum, about the association? If you think we've covered it all, or something more you'd like to add?
No, I think the biggest one for us is just anyone who's willing to get in and lend a hand. We'll appreciate any amount of help, whether it's large or small. And if even if it's just jumping onto social media, jumping onto our Facebook page and sharing a post, that's always appreciated, and that only takes the click of a button, and you can have that done, and just to build awareness at this stage, that's going to be a big one for us. Is just finding people that want to be involved.
Absolutely, mate. And I'm speaking for Laura and myself here, mate. If there's anything we can do to help you get going, shout out, mate. Happy to give you guys a plug anywhere we can.
Yeah, mate. Just go past the servo, throw your dogs in the ute, go past the servo, fill the ute up, and come up and have a few runs.
Mate, if that comes to fruition sometime, mate, and you need a judge, happy to put my hand up.
Yeah, mate. Well, yeah, you already have. I reckon we'll take you up on that at some point through the year for sure.
Too easy, mate. Too easy. Mate, haven't got away with everything this easy, although we're still pre-recorded. Laura's still going to have a question for you.
Yep.
So, would you rather fight one duck the size of a horse or 20 horses the size of ducks, and why?
Oh, I think I'd rather take on the one duck the size of a horse. I've only got to have a stare off with one object, not 20.
Oh, that's the way.
Like an intense stare down there.
Yeah, intense stare down will work. Yeah, I can handle that because I can't move real fast. I'm better at lifting heavy objects. So if I've only got to have a face off with one animal, that'll suit me down to the ground.
That's awesome, mate. No, thanks heaps for your time tonight. Thanks to all the listeners that get on there. Also, thanks to Enduro High Energy Food for Working Dogs with Real Kangaroo Meat. Without you guys, we don't get these live Q&As or even the pre-recorded ones weekly. So thanks to Enduro for that and supporting us. Callum, it's been an absolute, as always, fun time having a chat to you, mate. Thank you very much for coming on board and chatting to us. Hope it really takes off for you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thanks for having us. It's been a privilege being on here. It's been great. Thanks for the invite and for the support.
No problems, mate. Anytime at all. And please remember, we learn every day, and the day we stop learning will be a sad one for all of us.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks.
You got to end the live.